Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel. And this is going to be part 2 of our HOMELAB security series. So last time we set up UFW Firewall to block unwanted ports, but UFW is passive. It blocks ports, someone from hammering your SSH login with thousands of password attempts. So if you have SSH open to the internet or even just your local network, attackers will try to brute force it. Bots can scan constantly for port 22, then try command passwords such as admin, password, root, Ubuntu over and over until they somehow get in. So that's where Fail2Ban comes in. It watches your SSH logins in real time, and after a few failed login attempts, it automatically bans that IP address for 10 minutes, an hour, or permanently if you want. This is all up to your setting. We're going to go ahead and install Fail2Ban, configure SSH protection, and test it by simulating an attack. Just by entering the wrong password to an IP, we're going to be able to monitor the banned IPs and set up permanent bans for repeat offenders. Let's go ahead and secure your SSH access. Alright, so I'm going to get started by SSHing into my Ubuntu server, which is going to be my dashboard virtual machine. And now that we're in, we're going to go ahead and install Fail2Ban. And it's done. So let's just go ahead and check the status real quick. Let me clear this. So we can see that it's loaded, it's active, and it's running since the date that we made it. Alright, so perfect. It's already running. By default, Fail2Ban starts automatically and monitors SSH attempts right out of the box. But we're going to customize the settings to make it a bit more effective. So this is going to be the important part. Fail2Ban has main config file called jail.conf, but you never edit it directly. Instead, we're going to create a copy called jail.local. And if you're wondering why, that's because Fail2Ban updates it and overwrites jail.conf. So your custom settings in jail.local always take priority and won't get overwritten. Let's do it. Now let's go ahead and edit our local config file. So the file is now open, and yes, it's a big file. It has over 600 lines. Don't panic, we only need to change a few settings. So we're going to go to the default section. And right here we see the ban time, how long an IP stays banned. The default ban time here is 1 hour. Might leave it here, and if you want to go ahead and leave it to be permanent, you will change the 1 to -1 to -1 and take off the H. So basically, if you wanted this to be permanent, you would do this. So once they're banned, they stay banned. However, since I might be doing some testing to see how effective it is, I don't want to do that right now. So let's put it back to 1 hour. Here you can already see that the comments basically explain what it is. As I said, the ban time is the number of seconds that a host is banned. Here it has 10 minutes. Well, let's say we want to do it for the 1 hour. And for fine time is a host is banned if it has generated max retry during the last fine time seconds, which is the last hour. So I'm going to leave it for the 10 minutes. If 5 failures happen within the last 10 minutes, then it's going to go ahead and do a ban. As for the max retry, we're going to leave it at 5. If I use lower, that would be a stricter rule, but I prefer 5 just in case I somehow forget my password or made a mistake with an IP, so I give myself grace. Alright, so here I'm going to be going on to the ban action, and here it has IP tables multiport. However, I'm going to be changing it to UFW so it works with our UFW firewall. The ban time is 10 minutes, the fine time is 10 minutes, well, the ban time, sorry. So the ban time is 1 hour, defined time is 10 minutes, max retry is 5 times, and our ban action will be UFW to work with our firewall that we made in the previous video. Now that's configured, so this means if someone fails 5 SSH login attempts within 10 minutes, it bans their IP for 1 hour using UFW Firewall. So here we have the SSHD section. This is the SSH specific jail, so we have enabled to be true. While we're here, I'm going to go ahead and add a few sections. I'm going to have this enabled. We're going to keep the port as SSH, and we're going to keep this the same here for SSH logs and the backend for SSH backends. So the only thing we added was for it to be enabled and set it to true. The port is going to be the same SSH. The log path and the backend are going to be the same as well. And that will be it here for the SSH section. Control X, Y to save, and then enter to close. And just like that, our configuration is ready. Now let's do a restart to apply all the changes that we made. And we're going to also make sure that it starts automatically on boot. Nice. Now let's verify that Fail2Ban is running and monitoring SSH. Alright, perfect. We have one active jail, SSHD. That means SSH is being monitored. So right now, as we can see, 0 IPs are banned and 0 failed attempts. We're clean, but let's go ahead and test it. I'm gonna go ahead and use my Raspberry Pi. So just to give you guys an idea, you might be wondering, why do you need something like Fail2Ban? So without it, an attacker can try 1,000 or even 100,000 password combinations, and eventually they will guess your password. Especially if you're using something like password 123, which I doubt you are if you're already setting up a home lab, but you never know who's out there just testing something locally and think it's harmful and is not a risk on their network. So Fail2Ban sits in the background watching your logs, and when it sees 5 attempts or however you set it to, if those attempts fail 5 times SSH wise, if it sees 5 failed SSH attempts or more, if it depends on how you have it set up, from the same IP within a time window that you set, we're going to be using 10 minutes. It adds a firewall rule blocking that IP completely. They can't even try to connect anymore. Now, instead of 100,000 attempts, they get 5 tries, then they're locked out, game over. Sorry for the delay, but I'm using the jail commit. It means that I'm logged into it over the internet. It's not much of a delay, but this is a very cool tool, and I'm able to access this from anywhere. So thanks to Tailscale being installed in the commit. Not sponsored, would love to be. Let's get into the testing. I'm going to do this 4 more times so we can continuously reject me until it puts me in the ban list. Let me try again. There it is. It timed me out when I tried to log in. You can see here, permission denied, public key password. And right now when I check the logs, currently failed 1, 8 attempts, and the file list, you can see the auth log, and 1 currently banned. And it tells you the IP address that's also banned. Let's also check our UFW. See here, we have the ban rule that we created with Fail2Ban. using UFW to block it after 5 attempts against SSH. You can see that Fail2Ban dynamically added a deny rule for my Raspberry Pi. This is temporary. After 10 minutes, it'll automatically remove this ban. You can also go ahead and see the Fail2Ban logs here. Fail2Ban detected the failed attempts and now I'm banned. So think of it this way. So UFW basically says these ports are closed, go away. Now Fail2Ban says you tried too many times on an open port, you're banned. We can also go ahead and do the unban by doing it manually. So I banned myself for the demo, but let me show you how to manually unban an IP. This is useful if you lock yourself out or you need to unban an actual user. That one that you see means one IP was unbanned. So let's go ahead and verify. Here you can now see that my Raspberry Pi is now unbanned and I can SSH in again. So let me actually give it a try to use the correct IP this time. There we are. We're in. Connection restored. And you can also unban all IPs by restarting Fail2Ban. But we don't need to do that. We only have this one IP banned, so we're going to leave it as is. Let me show you how to monitor Fail2Ban and see who's getting banned. You can watch the live bans happen in real time with the Fail2Ban logs. So this shows you every ban, the unban, and action Fail2Ban takes. We leave this running and you'll see attacks as they happen. So here's the unban, and here's when the login failed attempt was made. So here's when I did the unban, and these are the login attempts that failed. This shows you all failed password attempts. So see all those failed password message? Those are the attempts Fail2Ban is watching. In a real world scenario, you'll see random usernames like admin, test, oracle, root, or even sequential IPs from the same region and thousands of attempts per day if your server is public facing. So Fail2Ban will stop all of this automatically. So if you want to go ahead and explore a little bit on your own, just so you guys know, you're able to configure Fail2Ban to email you when it bans someone. So this is also great for monitoring remote servers. And remember Uptime Kuma from that last video that we did? You can also monitor Fail2Ban status with a simple check. So if Fail2Ban stop run-ins, Uptime Kuma will alert you. And that right there, guys, is Fail2Ban in about 10 minutes or so. We installed Fail2Ban, we configured SSH protection, tested with a simulated brute force attack, we watched an IP get auto-banned, and learned how to unban and monitor. Remember, if you go ahead and restart, then all the IPs that are banned will be unbanned, and That's helpful if your team, if you have a team, locked out themselves from the server, or they don't want to wait the 1 hour time frame to be able to log back in. So your HOMELAB is now way more secure. UFW blocks unwanted ports, Fail2Ban blocks brute force attackers, and these work together to protect you. This is part 2 of the HOMELAB security series. So we completed UFW Firewall, we completed Fail2Ban, and now the next one we'll be doing is CrowdSec, which is going to be coming up in our next video. CrowdSec is similar to Fail2Ban, more like if it was on steroids. It shares threat data with a global network so you block attackers before they even hit your server. It's super cool and I can't wait to show you guys what it looks like. If this video helped you, hit that like button and subscribe for part 3. Drop a comment below if you have any questions. I read every single one. And if you're building a HOMELAB from scratch, check out the full playlist. We've covered proxmox, Docker, Portainer, monitoring, and now we're doing security. Everything you need to build your own self-hosted infrastructure. You can also go ahead to check out the blogs on my website, which is codewithromy.com, and you can subscribe for free, or if you want to support the channel, there is a $5 a month subscription that you can go to some of these on your HOMELAB yourselves. Thank you guys for watching, stay secure, and I'll see you in the next one. And I hope to see some of you subscribe to the website and join the member list, and look out for the newsletters as to when I make new posts on different guides that you guys can follow to improve or secure or even just add to your HOMELAB, or if you're just interested in technology in a whole, because all my projects will be shared there. Take care.